When they were down 27, what'd you think? When they were down 22 with 5:52 to play, where were you? Did you hang around to the end? If you started watching in the fourth quarter, lucky you. That's when it all got exciting as the Kings come back for their second overtime win of the season. They beat Minnesota 133-129, finish up a 5-game trip, 2 wins on the back end, 1 in Chicago and 1 tonight. Katie Hunter, Jim Kozimor, and I said it before, remember where you were. What a great night. A fabulous night on an emotional night for everybody.
You know what? It was an incredibly emotional night. And obviously for us sitting here trying to remember the legacy of Kobe Bryant, I talked in the pregame about how emotional it is as a player going into these games yesterday and today. And the Kings did not look good for most of this game. But the one thing that was apparent, Buddy Hield was playing for something else. And he had a career high tonight, wearing the number of Kobe Bryant, coming off the bench, and basically dragging this team to a win.
Yep, absolutely right. Career high 42 points for Buddy. And just a remarkable night as the Kings outscore Minnesota 41-22 in the fourth quarter and then go on to the overtime victory. Emotional for all, including the 2 guys who called it, Grant Napier, Doug Christie. Guys, the range of emotions from where it started and what you have been around for the last 24 hours, being so close to Luke Walton and all these guys, into the way it finished, it is otherworldly what we just saw.
You know, being on that plane yesterday, as we found out about the events on the bus, and that plane ride was it's hard to put in words. There was no talking. There was no movement. And I had a 10-minute conversation one-on-one with Luke Walton this morning. I know you were talking to him at shoot-around.
Yeah.
We just talked to Buddy Hield, and we know what Kobe Bryant meant to Buddy. But Luke Walton lived with Kobe Bryant, by and large, for 8 seasons. And he was sharing so many stories to me about Kobe, not as a basketball player, but as a person and what it was like to be at dinners with him and on the bus and on the plane.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine what this day has been like and this night has been like, and to win this game, I can't wait to talk to Luke Walton and give him a hug after the game.
Totally. And you know what, Grant, when you asked me the question about him going to the bench,
yeah.
Now as I think about it, Mamba mentality, not going to the bench.
Yeah.
We riding this thing out.
Wow.
And that's exactly what Luke did.
Yeah.
Get chills right now. 24 shots for Buddy, 42 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. That equals 8. Wow.
You know, you both have been around teams a lot. Katie, you were with the team coach. You've been in this situation where you've been around many teams. You know it's a family. And you feel people's pain when they're down. And you are – it's your extended family. What Doug and I witnessed in the last 24 hours, we can't adequately describe. And I'm not saying it's not like that for 29 other teams in the league. We're all hurt in this league. It's not just in Sacramento. But the relationship that our head coach of this team had with Kobe and what he has endured to get his team, and let's face it, I didn't think the Kings were ready to play tonight.
Yeah.
They pulled off a miracle. And I don't know if, you believe in divine intervention, call it whatever you want. But I've never seen a comeback like this in all my years of announcing NBA basketball. I've never quite seen anything like this.
I mean, as hot as Buddy got, going to the bench early, coming in, 20 points in the first half, and then the shot from De'Aaron Fox at the free throw line.
Wow.
I mean, you could tell Minnesota was just not expecting it.
Nope.
So,
yeah.
Wow.
Wow is right. And we're going to say goodnight as we exhale, get on the plane, and reflect back on everything that happened tonight, because it's going to take quite a while to relive this one, Jim and Katie. I know it's going to be an interesting show for you. We can't wait to get back to Sacramento on Wednesday, and we'll talk to you then, Jim.
Grant and Doug, when you hug Luke Walton, my thinking is you'll be hugging him for the entire city of Sacramento. Everyone wants to be together tonight. Great night, gentlemen, and you guys did a great job of calling it in the overtime session. Go enjoy yourselves the rest of the evening. Let's get to this one. Here's how the Kings got back into it at the end of regulation. Free throws were a big fourth quarter problem for the Minnesota Timberwolves. 2 late misses right there, and then Buddy Hield, well, he just couldn't miss them, could he?
No, I mean, he was feeling it on a whole other level tonight. And he did a tremendous job of even communicating and being a leader out there on the floor. It was such a good thing to see. And then this, what De'Aaron Fox did, I mean, are you kidding me right now? It was some kind of wizardry that he pulled out of his hat. And it just felt at this point that everything was starting to change. The momentum was shifting, and the Kings were finally having a space where they could come back in and get this win.
He's a witch or a warlock. That's all I can think of, because he made the first to make it a 2-point game and fired it off the front of he used a round item to throw off another round item and got it to bounce straight. And then he laid it in. Final shot regulation, nowhere near the basket. And we were going to overtime at that point. And you kind of had a feeling, Katie, that Minnesota didn't know what had just hit them, and the Kings were like a brand new team.
Yeah, it's like they got hit by a Mack truck. And you said it, Coz. You said it. They were absolutely stunned, and they were giving this game away. I mean, just look at how they close it out. Napier is a tremendous free throw shooter. They missed free throws. They just completely collapsed at the end of regulation, and it was the momentum that the Kings needed to take it into a final 5 minutes. And to think about it, this is the 5th game of the road trip, which has been absolutely brutal. You've got one win, the game before in Chicago. You finish it in Minnesota. They were on a 9-game losing streak. The last time you saw them, they were on an 11-game losing streak, and they beat you. It looked like they completely had this game in hand, up 27 points. And then you figure out a way on an extremely emotional night to dig deep within yourself and as a team and come out with this win.
Yeah, Minnesota missed 13 free throws in this one. So let's get to the overtime session and show you how the Kings close this thing out up in Minnesota. And it all gets started with Nemanja Bjelica. Give him a little step. He's got some range.
Oh, my goodness. He loves that, too. He loves that moment. And he's so calm, cool, and collected, and just the ultimate professional. And then De'Aaron Fox, this was amazing that he was able to draw that foul in that situation. This is the end of a shot clock. Bogey, a really tough contested shot, and he pulls it out too.
Yep, off the left wing, clock winding down, puts the Kings up 2. Then inside, a layup is missed. There's a mad scramble for the ball, and a foul called, and that sends Minnesota to the free throw line. Here's one miss, but he ain't done. Here's another miss. Then a follow and a miss on a layup that would have tied it. Dwayne Dedmon comes out of nowhere.
Calls the timeout, does the right thing, puts them in a position where they can secure the possession. Woo.
Look at that emotion and energy. Look at that guy. He has had little to cheer about. He comes out and gets the job done. And there you see the final horn in overtime. The Kings now 2-3 in overtime sessions. Minnesota 4-3. But Sacramento, with their second straight win, 17th of the year, they got to feel great.
I have to bring this up because Grant was talking during the broadcast about how this even surpasses in his mind maybe the 35-point come from behind win against the Bulls in Chicago. Now, I had to look this up because I was very curious. I mean, I think most Kings fans remember that game. They were down 35 points in the third quarter. Headed to the fourth quarter, they were down 88-69. That's 19 points. And they outscored the Bulls 33-10 in the final quarter to get that win. But the Kings were down tonight 22 points with less than 6 minutes remaining in the game. And they were able to come back, force overtime, and win this game. So I have to agree with Grant. This is even a more improbable come from behind win, just when you look at the difference of 22 down with less than 6 minutes remaining in the game, and they come back and win it in overtime.
And Katie, that's a strict game-to-game comparison. Mm-hmm. When you factor in the overriding theme throughout the NBA and the world of sports globally, that the passing of Kobe Bryant has been hanging over everybody, and the Kings have such attachment to the guy. And the city of Sacramento has that unique relationship with one of the greatest players of all time because Sacramento and Kobe and his Lakers were always doing battle. And yet you've got a guy in Buddy Hield who was showing his respect. Luke Walton was a guy, as Grant and Doug pointed out, knew the guy and played with him for 8 years. And you could sense it before the game because in Minnesota, with the number 24 over everyone's head, the Timberwolves did a great job of remembering Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter, Gigi. You see the video tribute, the 24 seconds of silence that went on before the ball game. You saw all the players on the floor seem to have something that was showing respect for Kobe Bryant, many having written things on their sneakers during the game as well. And then to start the game, the 24-second violation is unique. You see them put the ball down here, and if you didn't see
That's
this
for an
during the telecast,
8-second
boom.
backcourt violation, yes. So Minnesota got the ball, 8-second backcourt violation. They put it on the free throw line. This is where Kobe Bryant moved into third place on the all-time scoring list with a free throw at that free throw line. They put it there, and then De'Aaron Fox follows it up with a 24-second violation, sets the ball at the free throw line. That is just an incredible moment. I mean, that happened years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like for some of these young players to have that wherewithal to know and understand that moment, and specifically that place on that court in this city, in that building, and what it meant. I think it was very moving.
You're seeing all the different teams, and it all started with the Spurs-Raptors game, both choosing to take 24-second violations, and that was certainly a great honor. And then in Atlanta, when the 8-second violation was put into effect, and we saw Trey had the number 8 jersey as well. We saw all of it. And then to come back around in Minnesota, as you point out, and to utilize that free throw line as something else, kind of an exclamator, another exclamation of how much they respected Kobe Bryant and the way he played. But a guy who really respected him, he did it on his social media, was the great play of, is our Subway sub of the game? We're going to get right to it. All right, let's get to Buddy Hield, Subway sub of the game. And here are the great performances he has had. His biggest scoring night of his career was tonight in Minnesota, scoring 42 points. Katie, you pointed he took how many shots?
24.
On 24 shots, his number 24 that he wears in honor of Kobe. And I was told he was wearing the Kobe-style, Kobe brand shoe in the game this evening, and had written something on the side of it about being in paradise. This is amazing. And for Sacramento, the second most points scored by a guy coming off the bench, the most back on January 3rd of 2009 from Kevin Martin, who had a 45-point game. Walt Williams had a 40-point game on January 2nd, 1993 against the Philadelphia 76ers, and I know that because I was calling the game for the Philadelphia 76ers on that night.
Full circle.
And fans were getting right in my face over how bad the Sixers were, but how great was Buddy tonight on such a special evening.
He took it to a whole nother level, and I think that this is just a testament to his mental capacity and where he's at. I know that he was extremely emotional because he felt such an affinity towards Kobe Bryant for obvious reasons, and he explained it to Grant and Doug, and he explained it in his social media posts. But it's another thing to feel that way and to be able to deal with the emotion and the loss and the grief and still be able to step out there on the floor and turn in a performance like that. And you know what? That is a Kobe-esque performance. That is exactly what you do to honor someone of that stature.
This is an amazing picture right here. Look at a young Buddy with Kobe Bryant, and such wonderful words of praise from Buddy to one of his idols. Hashtag Mamba out, see you in paradise, you'll be missed, love you 24. Such heartfelt things. And there's another lesson in here as well, because it was just a couple of games ago. Remember, Buddy was a starter. It started each and every game last year, started each and every game this year until the last two. And he didn't go to the bench and sulk. He had 21 in the win over Chicago. He had such an emotional time for this ball game. But Katie, this is the greater lesson if we just want to talk basketball, and let's keep it to the basketball side of it. Don't worry about starting. No. It's finishing. Yeah. Everyone in this league and every league is worried about starting. Finishers are the ones on the floor late. He finished. He's a champion.
You know, sometimes I wonder, because we hear it over and over and over again, coaches, players, all of these people that are in the game talk to you about, hey, it's not about starting, it is about who is finishing and closing out games. And sometimes I wonder if people listening to that feel like that's just, you know, that's coach talk. That's what a coach is supposed to say when they're asked about starters and lineups and so on and so forth. But I mean, if this isn't evidence of it, doesn't matter if you're in that on the floor when the buzzer sounds to start the game, when the ball's being tipped off. But he had 42 points off the bench tonight. He single-handedly led this team back to be able to put them in the position to get that win. He didn't score a single point in overtime, but that's not the point. They wouldn't have gotten there without him. And yes, there was things throughout the course of the game that happened that he didn't do right. And no single player or game or team is ever going to play perfectly, but he figured out a way to do everything he could right to put them in that position. So just a tremendous job by him tonight. And I'm personally so happy for him, because this is a memory, this game, that he will never forget. He will never forget it. This career high won't stand. Buddy will score more than 42. It'll be passed at some point, but he will always remember today.
Yep, this is the one he'll talk about when someone says, what game do you remember or think about when his career is done and he's got a long way to go? This is the one they will think about and remember. Just a couple of games ago, he was being taken out of the fourth quarter and said, gosh, you know, I know my shot selection wasn't right, or I just didn't feel right. He's on the floor at the end of the game. That's what matters. Listen, we know there's a lot going on right now and you want to catch up on it. For Xfinity viewers who want to see the San Jose Sharks take on the Anaheim Ducks, for those of you in Sacramento, that game is coming up next. It's available on NBC Sports California Plus, which can be found on the channel numbers listed on your screen. Now, if you can't find NBC Sports California Plus, log on to NBCSportsCalifornia.com. You can call your TV provider, and you will get a chance to see the Sharks as they get the part of the season after the All-Star break going. Let's see if the Sharks can also bring Northern California a victory. Luke Walton, can't wait to hear what he has to say after the thrilling, amazing, almost indescribable Kings come from behind victory in overtime in Minnesota. That's next.
Kings Postgame is presented by Toyota. Wouldn't it be nice to drive the most trusted brand on the road? Take a test drive at your local dealer today.
Kings are winners. Toyota Kings post-game live. They beat Minnesota in overtime, and the month of January is Authentic Fanuary. It's 31 days dedicated to our authentic fans. Today's prize, an autographed Matt Olson baseball. This guy's platinum glove, man. Matt Olson's the bomb. Oh, wait, Chapman or Olson? It's a Chapman? My script says Olson, so I'm going to move it to Chapman. He is platinum glove, though. Log on to NBCSportsCalifornia.com/Authentic Fanuary. You can enter now, and you can win. Someone named Matt will send you a baseball. I'm not sure who it is. Carmichael Dave is a good friend of ours. He does mornings with Jason Ross at Sports 1140. And wondering if this was the biggest comeback in Kings history. Now, Katie, help me out with this one. Kings trailed by 17 with 2:49 left in the fourth. Is that true? God,
Yeah,
is that big?
yeah.
Oh, my word. Since 96-97, NBA teams entering today were 0-8,378 when trailing by 17 or more. Are you kidding me?
So yeah, it was a big win. That's fancy math for saying woohoo.
Wow. That's amazing. Dave, thanks very much. If it's
He made that up.
true.
Yeah,
I
he
think
made it
so.
up.
We know who he is, and we know where we can find you. Let's get our BMW press conference. I can't wait to hear from Luke Walton.
Not the prettiest of wins, but look, we've been on the road for 10 days, and it's been an emotional last couple days. So we'll take it. And what I love about this group is that what they've shown all year, which is we don't ever stop fighting. We had to junk the game up. Minnesota was having their way with us, and that's another issue for us to have to really address, because most nights you're not going to win. How we did tonight, Buddy getting red hot, making plays that like crazy down the stretch. But really proud of our group, and we got to get a lot better. We got to, we got some things that need fixing. But for an end of a 10-day road trip and a long flight home, it feels good to be able to find a way to win that game.
What De'Aaron's play at the end with on the free throw, just everything kind of falling into place there. What did you see and how did you see that kind of develop?
Well, yeah, I loved it for one, because in the timeout we had told the guys we thought they were going to foul, so we were just trying to get the ball and then make sure we didn't, that we didn't turn it over, thinking, that was our main concern, get it in safely. So they made the right call. They had an extra timeout going, and De'Aaron settled everyone down, got the ball on the top, and got himself to the free throw line. So that's what you want your point guard to do for you, and he did a nice job of it.
What did you see from Buddy kind of down the stretch and just seeming to not give in at all there?
Well, Buddy never gives in. It's his personality, whether you're playing pickup, whether you're doing shooting games, after practice, he's full go all the time. And boy, did we need him tonight, and he stepped up. He hit some really difficult shots, but he's a great shooter, so it's gonna happen. Obviously we don't come close to even being in that game without his performance tonight.
When you're in a game like that, you're making that run late. Can you sense the energy shift, or can you feel them getting tight? And
you can sometimes. Tonight, not really, because it was still a 15-point game with 2.5 minutes to go. Normally, that shift you feel will come with about 6 minutes to go when you cut it under 10 for the first time. We never did that tonight, so I felt like they were pretty confident throughout, and again, our guys, they just kept scrapping, and somehow we found a way.
Was there a point where you looked and said, "We've got a shot at this thing now"?
Yeah, with about 45 seconds left, we finally made it a 2-possession game, and even then it was not looking good for us. We had to have a lot of things go right, and then we had to make shots, and we did both. So, we didn't have great chances, but one of the things we got to take from this is, look, in the NBA, you are never out of a game, and you never have a game wrapped up. And that's kind of an important lesson to learn, and hopefully we can understand that and learn that while getting a win.
Do you think Buddy channeled any of his emotions on Kobe? As big of a
I don't know. I know that he is a huge Kobe fan, like a lot of our guys. The whole NBA is. The whole world is. The guy's just incredible. But that's a question you got to ask Buddy. I don't know the answer to that. I just know that Buddy's a great shooter and he works at his craft very hard.
Buddy was something else tonight. There's no question about it. I'm glad we heard from Luke Walton right there. He did seem to have a level of happiness there that we haven't seen in a long time for this guy.
Yeah, this team has been reeling. They have been struggling. Yes, they got the win the other night in Chicago, but that has been won in the midst of a ton of losses that have piled up. And then you add on the environment and the totality of this day from an emotional and human standpoint. It's nice to have some joy inserted. And that there was joy there. That's amazing on a day like today.
Little question of that. A lot of people weighing in on what just happened in Minnesota at Target Center where the Kings were down 27, come back and win in overtime. This from ESPN Stats and Information. Buddy Hield scored 20 points on 6 of 6 shooting in the fourth quarter. He joined, get this, Kobe Bryant as the only players in the last 20 years with a 20-point, 100% shooting fourth quarter in a game where his team overcame a 25-point deficit to win. You know what? Katie and I were just talking while we were listening to Luke Walton, and I said, I don't think these things are accident.
No.
They are not happenstance. There's sometimes things are unexplainable.
There is a power that
is much greater than any of us to understand. This is, I'm speechless.
I am too. I'm having a hard time because just considering the 42 points on 24 shots. And then this, holy cow. But
we didn't know this was coming up.
We didn't know.
We did not know this was coming up.
This was a surprise.
Yeah, this is, we were expecting something else. This came up. I'm speechless. Buddy Hield better not be. Reaction right now from the man of the hour.
It's very emotional. Everybody knows what's going on in the atmosphere. Tragic loss, one of the greatest all time, in my opinion, growing up in the Bahamas, Kobe was that guy to make you believe, man, and he helped me get out. He helped me. And when my mom was struggling, him just being that role model for me to help me guide myself way out, and knowing that if I just work hard and just keep on dedicate myself to my craft and just perfect it, I'll have a way to get out and I'll be able to take care of my family financially and emotionally. Not financially, but also just because of basketball, because you love doing it, because you love doing it, the passion that it brings to you, and that's what it's all about. I love it so much, and he caused me to love basketball so much. The way he carried himself on the court, I wanted to walk like him. I wanted to wear my sleeve like him, even run like him with his thumbs up in it. So everything was Kobe, man, and I can't tell you how much arguments I had in Bahamas just fighting with like Kobe's the best. When the meme was coming up, and I was like, me and my friend just back and forth, like fighting, like the late nights, because it's Bahamas Eastern time, and like games would come on like 10:30 at night on TNT, and I used to watch the finals games, and me and my shirt off in the hot house, and like just sweating, like screaming defense when I need a chance to get defense and stuff like that in the finals, like just that was everything was Kobe for me growing up, and. Thank God for bringing him on this earth, man. He's changed a lot of people's life, and like he impacted a lot of people's life in a lot of ways that you cannot describe. And not just only with basketball, through their work. And when people say that Mamba mentality, they really meant that Mamba mentality because that's what they use in the everyday. Because like they attack the way Kobe do it, with no regrets. With no, just going there and I say if I mess up, like I'm a perish. And like when he was young, he missed meaningful shots and airball shots, and he came back and he worked his ass off each and every day, and he wanted it, man. And like everybody say, when you're in LA, everybody like shy away from that stardom. Like he wanted that stardom, he wanted to show everybody he's great, and that was so awesome for me, and I want to be like him so bad. I know I couldn't be like him, but. If I can just get to know him and just to reach out to him, and when I was able to finally get to meet him as a kid, as in Oklahoma, my mom used to have the Elite Eight. If we won we won the game, and my mom said, Kobe's over there, and I said, no way. She said, yeah. I said, I'm going. And I picked up and left, and she said, you're not going. I said, don't go. She said, don't go. I said, buddy, come back. And I was like, no, I'm going to see him, and I'm going to meet him. And I want to meet him because that's my eye that grew up. So I just went there, and I just I hopped over the railing, and the point is it was so cool that somebody you're gonna meet somebody they will sit down and wait till you come to them. He got up and come meet me, and we started I was lost for words, but when I got there and I started shaking his hand and talk to him, it was one of the quickest conversation, but something I would never forgot. And I said, man, you come to the other game, and he came to the other game. Oregon, I put on the show too, and I remember when I made it 3 halftime, I popped my jersey and I put the 24, and everything was for him, man. And I'm just blessed to be a part of the living generation. I got to work out with him. The reason why I went with him, I went with the same agency because Rob Pelinka. So I thank God for Rob Pelinka introduced me to him. Man, it's so much build up towards this, man. It's so sad, but Kobe lived his life. He lived a great life, man. And is gone too soon, but he's impacted so much, and God doesn't make any mistakes. It's tough, but I just wake up call. Everybody know that anything can happen at any minute, and God, I just know he's home in paradise with God, and he's resting easy, and like I said, he's accomplished so much, and it's not that he couldn't accomplish, because whatever he could have put his mind to, he's going to do it, and that's what's Kobe, and I thank God for that, for allowing me to be a part of his life, to see him, to watch him, and watch him go throughout.
So, what do you get? You get 42 on 24 shots. How do you even explain something like that? The numbers kind of matching up on a night like this, on a comeback like this.
It's all Kobe, man. It's all God's blessing. He's down there. He know how much he means to me, and God bless me, man. And that's all it's about, man. So his blessings was on me, and God was there, and like I say, it's sad what happened, but he was with me, and that's how I feel like, and that's how I carry myself all the time. That's the reason why I want to play in the NBA because of Kobe, So, and I feel that he was with me, and that's what he never gave up. That's just always his mentality, never give up. No matter what the stakes was, he was always pushing, always pressing. He's making sure guys feel him, and that's what I did tonight.
When did you know that you guys had a chance to win this game?
I told Shabazz, you missed this, we got a chance, but I know there was 37 seconds left, and all we had to do was, you call the timeout? He said, yeah, and all I know we had to do is make 3 free throws, make a 3, and then after, don't foul and play it out, and we had the chance to win it, to tie it again, so that's what we did.
Is this one of your most memorable games?
For sure. I can't wait till I have a son and tell my son about this game, and tell my son about Kobe Bryant. I wanted to and I'm going to show him. I show his highlights, but I'm going to show him that, man, this was the guy that inspired me. This is the guy that inspired the world. And Kobe doesn't leave a mark on the American people. He left a mark on the whole entire world, and that's a blessing, man. People don't really look at that. That's a blessing. Most guys don't leave a mark on the whole world, and he did that. And ain't much people can do that. And probably 3 guys in the NBA can do it. Maybe Michael Jordan, maybe LeBron, but Kobe's one of those guys for sure.
Great stuff from Buddy. Great night.
Share it with your daughter, too.
Important,
If
right?
you like Kobe, share it with your daughter.
There you go. Highlight zone is on the way, and there are plenty of highlights to get to when you come back from down 27. 22 with less than 6 minutes to play, and you get your 17th win of the year. Highlight zone next.
Kings Postgame is presented by Toyota. Wouldn't it be nice to drive the most trusted brand on the road? Take a test drive at your local dealer today.
Toyota Kings postgame live rolls on. Kings win in overtime, but we have got Super Bowl coverage straight ahead. All you need to do is go to NBC Sports Bay Area. We got you covered. Tuesday, 9 p.m. from the Dream Hotel in South Beach, 49ers Central. We are there all week long with special 49ers Central programming each and every night. And then on Super Bowl Sunday, game day, you've got 49ers pregame live at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then immediately after they hand off the Vince Lombardi Trophy, we've got 49er, postgame live. The Mission Miami, thank you. I'm choked up at tonight's huge win, the emotions of the last 40 hours, and obviously what's coming up next week. 49ers coverage right here, NBC Sports Bay Area. We got you covered. Let's get to the highlight zone, everybody. And there are a lot of things to pick from, so it's hard to nail it down just to 3 of them. But number 3 is this at the end of the third quarter. A 3 by Kent Bazemore. You'd think it's just end of quarter play and you're getting smoked. Nah, it became very important, didn't it?
And it's great, too, because, he just joined the Kings on this road trip, and for him to come in and impact the game, he's done an excellent job in just a few games with the Kings.
Great spacing, dribble penetration by Buddy, finds Nemanja, who found Bazemore and hit the shot.
Ooh.
This, I still don't know how you take a round ball, throw it off a round rim, and it bounces straight.
This is the kind of stuff that you mess around with when you're playing around after practice. And by the way, there's a reason, because crazy things happen in NBA games, and my goodness, did the pitch go wild.
I don't know how they did it, but the number 1 highlight on this night was the opening tap. Timberwolves and the Kings with a tribute to Kobe Bryant. Once Minnesota won the tap, they put the ball on the exact spot, the foul line, where Kobe Bryant passed Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list to move into number 3. That was pretty classy.
Yeah.
And then later on, it was De'Aaron who did that when the Kings took a violation. So a classy night for everybody and a thrilling ball game for everybody, unless you're a Timberwolves fan. But this goes down as one of the greatest games ever played in Sacramento Kings history.
Absolutely.
I think.
Absolutely. And as I said it, if you're just hearing it now and you weren't with us earlier in the show, Grant had talked about it as a come-from-behind win. Obviously, they won in Chicago in 2009 when they were down 35 points in the third quarter. But when they were headed into the fourth, they were down 19 points. But they were down tonight 22 points with 5:52 remaining in this game. And they came back and they won. And it's just, again, the totality and the immenseness of this day, I think, also propels it to that stature of being the best company.
Totally
behind
correct.
Victory.
Absolutely right on, no question about it. So not only are there tributes around the National Basketball Association, around the basketball world as well, as the UConn women's basketball program, the most elite program in the United States. They were honoring Gianna Bryant, Kobe's 13-year-old daughter who passed away in the helicopter crash. This was ahead of their game against Team USA tonight. They put a jersey for her on the bench with flowers. And touching scene. Everyone just wanted to reach out.
She so badly wanted to play for the Huskies. That is where she wanted to play college. She wanted to play in the WNBA. And as we talked about earlier, Kobe was one of those voices that truly believed that a woman would play in the NBA alongside all of these other men. And I have a feeling it's because he knew what was in his daughter.
Yeah.
And so just a really touching, classy thing.
Yeah.
And just, again, perspective on this day. Immense amount of loss for so many involved. but joy at the end of it.
Yes, as tough as it is. He told a great story about Gianna and being around him, and people would come up to Kobe and say, oh, you got to have a son to keep the legacy alive. And she was like, I got this.
I got this.
I got
Yeah.
this. And he was so, like when you see him tell the story, he's so proud
Yeah.
of the way she handles herself.
Yeah. And there was an interview that was done, I saw as well, during everything that was coming out yesterday, where the reporter is standing there talking to both Kobe and Gianna, and she introduced him as Gianna's dad. And he just lit up, you know, like the pride, the amount of pride that he had for his children and his daughter that was following in his footsteps. A really amazing thing. And that's why I say to Buddy Hield, who we see his beautiful little girl running around behind the scenes at Golden One Center, show your daughter the same thing. I mean, that is, as I said in pregame, I think one of the biggest impacts that Kobe has had for me personally is his support of the women's game and his desire to advance it and make it better and draw eyes to it and reward the women that are a part of this basketball world. So yeah, I think that, you know, honor that passion that he had.
Since the terrible tragedy yesterday, the Lakers and those involved with the Lakers have been understandably quiet until earlier this evening during the Kings-Minnesota game. This came out on Instagram from LeBron James. I'm not ready, but here I go, man. I'm sitting here trying to write something for this post, but every time I try, I begin crying again just thinking about you. Niece, Gigi, and the friendship bond brotherhood we had. I literally just heard your voice Sunday morning before I left Philly to head back to LA. Didn't think for one bit in a million years that would be the last conversation we'd have. I'm heartbroken and devastated, my brother. Man, I love you. Big bro. My heart goes to Vanessa and the kids. I promise you I'll continue your legacy, man. You mean so much to us all here, especially Laker Nation, and it's my responsibility to put this on my back and keep it going. Please give me the strength from the heavens above and watch over me. I got us here. There's so much more I want to say, but just can't right now because I can't get through it. Until we meet again, my brother, hashtag Mamba for life, hashtag GG for life. And that's LeBron James in the first communication he has had since the horrible tragedy happened yesterday.
Yeah, and it was brutal yesterday watching the Lakers depart the plane after arriving back in Los Angeles from their flight from Philly. At that point, we knew that there was a conversation between LeBron and Kobe that evening when he surpassed him on the all-time scoring list, and other Lakers teammates heard the conversation, but it sounds like from what he posted there, he spoke to him that morning before he boarded the flight. And then to think about getting off that flight and having that devastating news that you're trying to grapple with when you've just spoken to this person a mere couple hours earlier. It's just, you know, it goes to the point that, yes, these athletes are professionals, and yes, Kobe may have wanted the games to go on, but they're human beings too, and they're grieving like everybody else, but they're doing it with a camera in their face. And so for LeBron to take as much time as he did to even be able to go on social media and voice the impact of this loss for him, I think that is why the Lakers and the Clippers postponed tomorrow's game. I applaud them for that, but I have a feeling that they're going to honor him in a really special way.
I believe you are correct with that one. Kobe Bryant was an international star, superstar. We tell you about Buddy Hield and all that he meant to Buddy, but also Bogdan Bogdanovic, who wrote something very nicely on Twitter. Let's get reaction right now. As the Kings get a victory in Minnesota, here's Bogdan Bogdanovic.
She has that European mindset, you know. He played in Europe, and for me it's really cool to work with her, and she's also competitive, you know, trying to compete with us all the time, trying to play us one-on-one, you know, and all that, and I think it's good to have her here.
And how has she kind of separated herself from other player development coaches on the staff? She's bringing that energy, you know, on the floor, and she's trying to talk to everyone, you know, trying to be loud as, you know, try to just have a conversation with all of us, you know, and
just doing her job over there, and as I said, it's really good to have her here. It's a really good energy from her. She's always positive, and always there.
All right, so the Kings come home for a brief time before going back out on the road in the second night of a back-to-back. The Oklahoma City Thunder invade Golden One Center. We'll get you ready for the upcoming games for the Kings, who are winners in overtime tonight, 133 to 129. Toyota Kings Postgame Live, and how about this? You can win tickets to watch the Kings take on the Miami Heat February the 7th. You get a VIP game day experience. Become the Kings authentic fan of the game. Enter now. NBCSportsCalifornia.com/KingsAFOG. KingsAFOG. You could be the winner. That'd be cool, going to that game against Minnesota. Who doesn't want to go to a game
against Miami? That game.
I mean, Miami. They were in Minnesota.
They were in Minnesota tonight. The game in Miami earlier on this road trip, where they went to overtime, almost got that win, giving them only their second home loss of the season. They are not a very good team on the road. So maybe it'll be a good, nice win for the Kings.
And you know what? The Kings have a 2-game win streak going right now. They win in Chicago. They win in Minnesota in thrilling fashion. They're coming home for Oklahoma City, playoff team. Go to L.A. for the first game in Staples Center since the tragedy, because they've called off Lakers-Clippers for tomorrow. So they will be playing the Clippers in L.A. on Thursday, and then they get the Lakers at Golden One Center on Saturday. This is going to be an emotional time for everyone this week involved in the Kings organization. Coming home, I'm sure the Kings will do something very special on that night. But going to L.A., having the Lakers come in, this is just it's hard to put into words what everyone has been trying to get through over the last 40 hours, we'll call it. But this was just an unbelievable night tonight, wasn't it? The range of emotion is just unbelievable, hard to try to describe.
And for everyone, I mean, for us sitting here in front of you, for the people behind us in this booth that are producing and putting on this show, to the players on the floor, the coaching staff, I mean, this is something that everybody feels. And Kobe Bryant was a flawed human being, like every single one of us. But he found a way to impact so many in such a great way. And it doesn't matter, that's the legacy you leave. We're all flawed, imperfect individuals. And what he was able to do and the impact he made is a testament to the human being that he was.
And it's not just sports fans. Now, we've talked about global sport. You know, in the soccer community around the world, some of the greatest to play the game are giving tribute. But people who aren't even basketball fans or sports fans are touched by this, talking about this. That's how great of a man Kobe Bryant was, and we will miss him. We pay tribute to him and his daughter, Gigi. And there you see some of the images from tonight's game as the Kings get a thrilling overtime victory in Minnesota, but the night belonged to the memory of Kobe Bryant. Good night, Kings fans.